Okay. Thank you all for being here. Thank you so much. Thank you for working with us all of today. Thank you for showing up tonight. Thank you for working through the snow and the ice on your way here this morning. Thank you for being here. We are really, really gracious for your presence today. So, we are also super, super gracious for our sponsors. This is a free event. There are 7 food trucks outside for like 30 straight hours. There's art, there's beanbags, there's all this great stuff. They're sponsoring all these prizes. So, for all these people on this slide and all these people on this slide, let's give a very, very big round of applause. It's awesome. And we made this kind of an explicit decision to say, wait a second, let's get more people in here and let's take more sponsors here because we want to make this a really great event for everybody. So before I begin, something to be aware of both in this opening ceremony and throughout both the day today and tomorrow, especially, there's a lot of content. You guys have experienced that today. There's 2 slides running, 2 parallel workshops happening, 50 workshops total. We got 16 panels. We got an opening ceremony, a closing ceremony. There's a lot of content. If you're a hacker, please think about this balance. There's a balance between these 3 pillars that we think of at ETHDenver. One of them is this learning side, this workshop side, where you're learning, you're actively going to things, you're thinking about workshops. The second is this kind of building piece, where you are actually building things, you're hacking, you're doing decentralized governance, whatever. And the third piece is this community piece, this kind of hanging out with people, making real connections, that kind of thing. So you can't do all of these at once, but we want you to do all of these. So as you're here, please actively be thinking about this and thinking about, hey, I don't necessarily need to go to all the presentations, or, oh, I don't necessarily need to be hacking the entire time, because you want to kind of think about this balance at all times. Another thing to be aware of is, as you can sometimes see here, and we have some people up there, it's going to get packed. Sometimes it's tough to see. Some people are behind pillars, etc. This is because this is a 1920s car showroom. This is not, we made the explicit decision not to get a hotel conference room, essentially, and to choose this space. And that's had some issues, clearly, where we had an explosion back there where the electricity went off, and then this thing went down. We've had issues with the Wi-Fi all day, those kinds of things. But we made that an explicit thing, so please be flexible with us on that. And please, this final piece here, this co-creating the event together, that idea is pretty crucial to the blockchain ecosystem, and it's the idea that this is not a one-to-many kind of relationship. This is a many-to-many kind of relationship. So we are actively all co-creators in the space that we created today, in the space that we'll create tomorrow, in the space that we'll create on Sunday, and you as a person are a participant in that and not simply a receiver of that information. So please co-create this event with us. If you want to do something experimental, do it. If you want to do something not experimental, do it. We want to make it a together experience. One other note here, before I kind of pass the mic and start rocking and rolling through things, is, if you are, so as people who have been here all day know, we've been having problems with the Wi-Fi most of today, and we are currently still working on it. We have 2 Comcast techs here still, and as a note for people who are here, it would really, really help us. We're live streaming this, and so if possible, for you to not also be live streaming it on your phone. Or if you have please do all of your social media and things through your computer, and not to kind of take your phone and use that for an additional thing that goes onto our bandwidth. So this is to say, anything that's streaming related, anything that uses lots of bandwidth, if possible for us, especially right now, if you could not use those, that would be very, very helpful. The other thing I want to say is, so first, to all the people who are about to begin speaking, I'm going to be emceeing through you guys, and we're going to be essentially rocking and rolling where there's going to be there's about 35 different speakers, some of which have 10 minutes, some of which have 90 seconds. If you're one of those people, if you're one of those people, please, as I will say, hey, you're up next, or you're up next, you're going to move over to the side here to kind of get ready for your talk. Let me double check that any other logistics need to be said. I don't think so. So with that, I'm going to start rock and rolling. This is going to be about 2.5 hours. And we are, honestly, I'm very excited for almost every piece of it. And with that, we're going to start with Kent Barton on the stage right now. Let's welcome Kent.
Thank you, Reese. All right. Wow, look at all of us. This is insane. Everyone who spent time putting this together is incredibly humbled that all of you showed up for this. We are going to do everything we can to provide you with an amazing weekend. I hope you've had fun so far. We want this to be memorable, and want you to look back on this as like, wow, that was really kind of a landmark moment in my own journey with blockchain, and all around an awesome time. My name is Kent. I started ETHDenver in 2014. I read about this white paper, and I always liked Vitalik from Bitcoin Magazine, and it seemed like a cool idea. So we started out as a small community and grew from there. We'll hear about that shortly. First, I want to thank a lot of people. Thank you for coming. Thank John Pollard. Where's John? There's John. This guy, it all started in his brain. If it were not for this guy right here, we would not be here. So thank you, John. And Justin Moskovitz over there. Justin. This guy probably hasn't slept in like a week. His wife is insanely patient to deal with this because he has a newborn and he's put in countless hours. So thank you, Justin. Yeah, seriously, it's a lot. Thank you to Reese Lindmark. Thank you to Annabelle and everybody else who's helped. And thank you to everybody in a purple shirt who's a volunteer. They're making this, they're giving this hackathon a semblance of organization and making things run smoothly. And we wouldn't be able to do this without our volunteers. So thank you guys and girls. So I believe, I haven't seen any sort of official stats, but I believe this may be the biggest hackathon in the history of the blockchain industry. Here we are. We received a large amount of applications during the process, and there was one that really stood out. We want to show you this video.
Hey, how's it going? This is Kevin, and this is my application for ETHDenver. Listen, I shouldn't have to say anything. I got mad ICO skills, bro. So, basically, wait, hold on a second. Got a phone call on my custom Lambo. Give me a second. Hello? Heard you need a unicorn herder. I mean, I don't mean to brag, but I mean, come on. I'm your guy. Bitcoin here. Ethereum here. You know where I'm at. As far as cryptocurrency goes, I got more Tron than the 80s, bro. So this is my video application for ETHDenver. If you don't accept my application, I'd like my money back. I mean, it's not a big deal because I'm rich, but I'd like my money back.
I don't see him around. I don't think he got accepted. But so, what's that? Oh, he got accepted.
BTC Dallas, I thought.
He's down in Dallas at the Bitcoin Super Conference. A lot of Lambos down there. On a serious note, though, what makes Ethereum cool is so much more than ICOs. The ICO, ERC20 sort of thing was even in the very first use case tutorial of Ethereum when it was launched. And okay, it's cool, but it's not interesting. To talk briefly on a higher level, I think this technology, decentralization, and Ethereum specifically, has the opportunity to make us closer as humans. There's a lot of powers that be out there, whether it's the government or media and other organizations that have a vested interest in keeping us separated as humans. And I don't think this is in our nature. And if we can sort of harvest this power of decentralization, this could be a better world. Sounds a little bit utopian, but I think we can make it happen. So, that said, I just wanted to provide some brief history of the community here. We've always had a vibrant blockchain community. This actually dates back to the early Bitcoin years. There was a good Bitcoin meetup here probably started in 2011. A lot of people are really interested in the technology. The Ethereum Denver meetup started in 2014. Unlike maybe you might see on Reddit or online, Bitcoiners and Ethereans all get together here. We're all under the same flag. Many are, they're not mutually exclusive. And I think you'll find that online a lot of the differences are accentuated, but that is not the case here in person. We started out in a dive bar in a place called Globeville by two big highways, I-25 and I-70. Usually there'd be like about 10 of us sitting around and talking about whether or not this technology was going to work. Fast forward to present times, the meetup has like 1,500 people, and what's impressive is we've managed to maintain the same community vibe. Nothing has really changed except more people show up, but people are still interested in getting into this technology, and there's something about this ecosystem that encourages people to connect with one another and learn. It's exciting, it's fun, and it's gratifying to help others. I also have to give a shout out to the co-organizers of Ethereum Denver, Corey and Sasha. Sasha, where are you at? Sasha, wherever you are, thank you very much. They've been instrumental in helping foster this community over time. What is it about Colorado and Denver and Boulder that makes it a good place for crypto? I think part of it goes back to the old Wild West days of mining, actual mining, not GPU mining. There's kind of this independent spirit, the Wild West spirit, that still prevails today in Colorado. We've done some forward-thinking things in terms of drug policy, and we tend to think a little bit differently here and not be afraid to question the status quo. Crucially, we're separated from the gravity wells of influence on Wall Street and on Sand Hill Road with VCs. We're kind of our own little sphere, which is very cool. So what does that mean? In terms of living here in Denver and also just being in Ethereum, it's the idea of you don't need gatekeepers anymore. One of the worst trends, I think, over the past decade in popular culture has been this idea of like American Idol, of like, you have to go up with these judges, these expert judges, and they're going to decide whether or not you're good enough to do something. And that makes me sick. Like nobody should be gatekeeping. If you have a good idea, then the sky's the limit. That's how it should be, and that's how it is in Ethereum. We saw this with CryptoKitties. CryptoKitties started at ETH Waterloo just as a little dApp, and it blew up, and it kind of blew up Ethereum too. But it was a testament to what can be done. And as a quick aside, I also want to thank the ETH Waterloo team who really served as a template for this hackathon. This wouldn't exist without those guys, and they've been extremely helpful in providing advice, and you might want to read up on the ETH Global thing that's just been announced. So thank you to them as well. So one last thing that I think sets Colorado apart is this idea, the sense of idealism. Making money is great, and hey, let's get some Lambos and whatever, and new business models are cool. That's awesome, but what if we could use this technology to make the world a better place? And this sort of sense of idealism, I think, really influences what we do here in Denver, maybe more so than other places. But the cool thing is, I think this could also be replicated everywhere the Ethereum ecosystem exists, really across the world. It's a perfect fit with what makes Ethereum unique and powerful and world-changing. With that, I'll hand it over to John for a little bit more about the community.
Thanks, Kev.
I guess this one's the forward button. So converging with the Ether. So we have made a very concerted effort at showcasing not just the kind of technological culture, but also the overall culture of Colorado. Every piece of food, every piece of music, and every piece of art that you'll experience is locally sourced. We have artists that are here. You can talk to them. You can ask them about their work. If you haven't seen the art gallery over there, we highly suggest that you check it out. We'll be talking about the proceeds of that art gallery and why that means so much to us here locally. We have 7 food trucks. If you haven't seen them or partaken yet, you should. Remember, you have a coin. Everybody have it? This guy, right? So your coin is actually loaded with all of your meal credits. So all you got to do is go out there, they'll scan it, you eat and go. That's all you got to do. Your snacks, the kombucha on tap. Valeria, where are you? There you go. You got your kombucha. And we have tea from Tico. We have, so many things to even mention. It's great. So please explore the Colorado culture by eating our food. And guess what? It's free. So thank you to them for sponsoring and contributing to this event as well. The showcase will continue at the closing ceremonies with a food show and a really, 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 really big surprise. Pretty well-known band's gonna show up. I'm not gonna tell you who. Just be here around 7 o'clock. Don't go home. Okay. 7 o'clock. The after party starts at 4. We have music, DJs, all sorts of cool stuff, but in the food show will be starting at 4. So, yeah, I should have actually had this slide up, shouldn't I? All right, let's talk about the culture for a second here. So you guys saw our opening video, the guy. We don't really want that sort of stuff here. Okay, now, that's not to say that we all don't have our moments, but let me highlight a couple of things that we really want to focus on. First off is a contribution mindset. Think first about what you can contribute to your team or the ecosystem. The benefit will come. Build cool stuff. Not hodl, beetle. Okay? Build relationships, okay? You'll notice the badges. Did you see that there's no last names? First name basis. We're here to build a community, not to actually hand out business cards and, hey, what can I get out of that guy? This is not a conference, it's a community gathering. This is somewhere to connect, build, learn, and grow. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Corey, our spirit animal steward, to talk a little bit about this guy. There you go.
Thank you. Greetings, everyone. I'm Corey. I help run the meetups with Kent here. How many of you have learned something today? Something new? Oh, jeez. How many of you have met a new friend or had a really good conversation with someone new? All right, job is done here. That was what today was all about. Next 36 hours are going to be building and sleep deprivation and a lot of caffeine all over the place. So luckily we have plenty of that. Thank you. Who can guess, who has an idea of what's on the pink shirt here? Many of you have seen the staff running around. Just call something out. Buffalo and unicorn. Okay, cool. Buffacorn. We didn't come upon the buffacorn. It kind of came upon us. It was like hiking on Long's Peak one day, actually. Thousands of years ago, it was the great unicorn migration, and some of them decided to stay behind in Colorado and mate with fellow quadruped fauna. And the buffacorn came about, and they only live on the top of our 53, 14,000-foot peaks now. But ever since the unicorns have been showing up on, shirts in the crypto space, they've become quite fond of our community. So I need help with a name for our buffacorn mascot, and I created a channel in the Slack, buffacorn-name, and just people throw out a bunch of names in there, and I don't know, whichever one's really cool, upvote them or whatever, and we'll figure out that works. Whoever wins gets a custom engraved ETHDenver Hackathon Ledger Nano S that's purple. And there you go, part of the buffacorn kind of fairy dust there. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Corey. And now up, we are going. What's up? Oh, you have 2 more slides. Sorry.
One more thing about the Bufficorn, you can also take it out on a night out in the town, dress it up a little bit. It's sort of like a mullet, business in the front, party in the back. Awesome. So, just 2 more things. I've been thinking a lot about what Ethereum is. And to me, it feels like this, and really blockchain in general, it's starting to kind of feel like a movement. It's more than just a technology. It has a lot of sort of societal and political and financial implications for all of us. It's so pervasive and so all-encompassing, potentially, much like the internet was, that it really has the potential to change a lot of things. To me, it's the new punk rock. Like, I was thinking we should play like Bad Religion or Pennywise before the start of this talk, because it's the DIY element. Again, it goes back to the idea of not needing anybody's approval to do this. All you need is to build something cool, put it out there, and if it's meeting the needs of the end users, if people like it, that's all you need. To me, that's a pretty empowering thing. And just a final note, just keep in mind, this is your story. There's a lot of egos in blockchain, a lot of influencers, a lot of thought leaders. Don't ever listen to appeals to authority. This is your story. All you need to do is educate yourself, connect with others, and make it happen. The blockchain technology has improved the lives of countless people and created awesome careers and just bettered the lives of so many people. And I think that's going to increase in the future. So this is your story. And this is hopefully the start of a new chapter for you at the ETHDenver Hackathon, and we're honored to help you write that chapter. So have a good weekend. Thank you.